All right. Good evening. Thank you for joining us for our January virtual board meeting. I am Leah Cruzy, board chair. Joining me this evening are Ricardo Ganjam and Jim Sandman. Rick Cruz is unable to join us tonight and will vote by proxy. I'm going to hand over the virtual mic to Dr. Walker Davis in just a moment, but first want to kick off tonight's meeting with a quick message of gratitude with wishes for good health, smooth recoveries for those impacted, and for wellness in spirit, mind, and body in school communities and back at home. 2022 is not letting any of us off the hook. Parents, school leaders, teachers, students, and everyone who plays a role in making our school communities enriching spaces for learning across our city, my family is sending you light and love. On to our meeting tonight. Dr. Walker Davis.
Thank you, Chair Cruzy. With this being our first meeting of the year, I would like to start by wishing all a happy and productive 2022. And with all that's been happening, no one can say that there's been a slow start to this year. In particular, school leaders and staff did not have much of a winter break. COVID and the Omicron variant hit Washington, D.C. harder than just about anywhere else in the country. And while the number of cases has peaked and is going down, we all continue to navigate these challenging times. We want to acknowledge our educators who remain laser focused on ensuring students have access to safe environments that offer quality learning opportunities. I was excited today to visit my first school in 2022 and plan to visit as many as I can in the weeks and months ahead. And as I walked the halls with the administrative team, observed teachers hard at work, and saw joyful students wearing their masks properly, I was reminded of all that it takes to make the magic that is learning happen for our children. That magic is the constant, whether it happens inside our buildings or when necessary in the virtual space. Educators and city leaders are doing all that they can to prioritize safe and consistent in-person learning because we know it is how so many students learn best. And school leaders make difficult decisions daily to keep students and staff safe. This often means that they have to quarantine a classroom or school on short notice. And I know that this can be stressful for families, teachers, and students, but unfortunately, it is the reality of the times that we live in. I want to remind everyone that school leaders do not take these decisions lightly. They follow the guidance provided by city health officials and the processes they have established at their schools. Our city and schools are providing lots of information to you as parents and community members. And I just want to highlight a few of those as you may find them useful. Most of it can be found at coronavirus.dc.gov and also on our website, dcpcsb.org. But also many schools share a lot of information with their employees, families, and students on either their website or through their regular communication channels. So I really do encourage parents to continue to be vigilant with looking out for school notices and also access coronavirus.dc.gov or our website for other information. Unfortunately, we do not know how long the pandemic will last, but we should all expect that the next 6 months could continue to be unpredictable. I know you are as committed as I am to help our schools provide the highest and safest learning environments for our students and families. And it is really a pleasure to be working with the board committed to that, and that is open to using the time that we have and leveraging the resources that we have to support these efforts in our schools. In closing, I would like to say a special thank you to our students and their families who continue to demonstrate their resilience during these difficult times, especially for some students who this is the only schooling experience that they know during a pandemic. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. Thank you all for all the work you continue to do. And I will now yield the floor back to you, Chair Cruzy.
Thank you. Okay, as we move through each agenda item, Brianni, our moderator for the evening, will unmute DC PCSB staff or individuals speaking on behalf of a school. The hand raising feature has been disabled. Individuals who have previously signed up to testify will be called upon. As a reminder, all written public comment is available to the public on our website. If you didn't sign up by sending your name to the public comment mailbox before this meeting, please submit your comments to public.comment@dcpcsb.org or call our public comment line to leave a voicemail testimony at area code 202-328-2660 and select option 2. Let's now hear from the witnesses who signed up to speak. I'd like to invite Camille Joyner to come testify. And Camille, once you've made it on here, we'll keep your comments to 2 minutes. Welcome, Camille.
Camille, you're able to mute yourself. Camille, you're able to unmute yourself.
Sorry, I stepped away from my desk, area. So it's my time to testify?
Yes, welcome.
Okay. Thank you.
Go right ahead. You've got about 2 minutes.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to start. A few years ago, I knew nothing about public schools in DC. I do now. What brought my attention to DC public schools is a public charter school, Eagle Academy, locating and building in my neighborhood. When I first learned Eagle had bought the acre across from my house, I felt optimistic, but that waned after Eagle constructed a building I and many neighbors felt was too imposing for our neighborhood. Sadly, my optimism remains low now that the building hasn't been sold by Eagle to another public charter school, Lee Montessori, which plans to expand it. So now, what we're getting for our opposition to the initial size of the school building is an even bigger school building. Why did these two charter schools choose our neighborhood? Because they found land, because land was cheaper here, because they could have their way here? I don't have answers to these questions, but I do have an opinion about a public charter school being my neighbor. Not a good experience so far. Starting with the school lights being kept on 24/7, shining through a glass in my front door that only a few years ago I was proud to have installed. I used to look out my window and see a beautiful heritage American elm tree, but now it's gone, killed by the construction. These are only a couple of the issues brought to my neighborhood by these charter schools. I often hear the word choice associated with charter schools, but where's my neighborhood's choice in this? We did not choose to live near a charter school. We did not choose the charter schools that would be here. We are not choosing a charter school's plan to expand its building to within mere feet from our houses, nor to endure extremely loud noise and massive dust from yet another construction. We have not chosen the noise, disruptions, and damages that these schools have brought and will bring to us. The actions of these two public charter schools with the enablement of the charter board seems to be telling me, if you don't like what we're doing, then you can move. It seems for us, the only choices are when the charter schools are the arbiter of those choices. I've spent a lot of time thinking about public charter schools as it pertains to this situation, and I'm having a hard time understanding why my tax dollars are creating more seats in my neighborhood where there are already many choices of public schools serving the same age group. In fact, the in-boundary public school serving this age group is 2 blocks away. Lee's expansion, pre-approved long before they landed in our neighborhood and for which we had no input, should occur elsewhere. It is not needed here. Thank you for my time.
Thank you, Camille. And Brianni, we next have up Valerie Jablow.
Valerie, you're able to unmute yourself.
Good evening, Ms. Jablo. You may begin.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. My name is Valerie Jablo. As a DC taxpayer, I want to outline how unaccountable your body is to the public you supposedly serve. This evening, you will vote on Latin's second campus in Edgewood. The public weighed in with traffic concerns and lack of a school plan for Ward 5. Tomorrow evening, Lee Montessori will publicly outline its plans for expanding its building and enrollment in Ward 8 at 2345 R Street Southeast. But Lee was approved by you to expand years before it was ever in that ward. So Lee's Ward 8 neighbors literally have no choice at all with respect to this expansion because you approved it without regard for where or when it would happen or who it would affect. You may recall that the building at 2345 R Southeast was built by another charter school, Eagle Academy, mostly without a permit. Neighbors opposed the large structure while sustaining damage to their properties during the unpermitted construction. They had no choice in either. Yet, despite your obtaining public comment and voting on Eagle locating there in 2016, it never did. So, whose choice was that? And months before you approved Lee actually being at 2345R, Lee signed a lease for the building and advertised itself there on My School DC. Again, whose choice was that? Like demigods, you approved all of these things, even when the approval was effectively moot, then stood back and watched while neighbors had no choice about any of it except to pay for it. As with the Latin proposal before you tonight, there were public comments to you about the negative effects that a charter at 2345R would have on traffic in nearby schools. But it didn't matter. No one there chose Eagle or Lee or had any say whatsoever in Lee's expansion. How could they? And no one in Edgewood chose Latin's location there either. This isn't about charters lacking facilities. It's always been about you and other appointed and elected leaders here in D.C. abdicating any role in responsible use of D.C. resources while prioritizing the choice of private operators of schools. Please remember all this when you talk about school choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jablo. I will now begin the public meeting. Board members, do I have a motion to approve tonight's meeting?
I move to approve the January 24th, 2022 board meeting agenda.
Thank you, Jim. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Ricardo. Okay, roll call vote. Jim Sandman,
Aye.
Ricardo Ganjam.
Aye.
I have a proxy vote to approve by Rick Cruz and Leah Cruzy approves. We can proceed. Brianni, can we now welcome up Melody Sampson? Good evening,
Hi,
Melody.
Hi, my name is Melody Sampson, and I am a senior manager in the School Performance Department. Tonight, the board will vote on the request from Washington Latin Public Charter School to name 2 approved campuses it has yet to open. The school proposes naming its second middle school campus, Washington Latin Public Charter School, the Anna Julia Cooper Campus Middle School, and proposes naming its second high school campus, Washington Latin Public Charter School, the Anna Julia Cooper Campus High School. The school is also requesting to temporarily operate a second facility at 711 Edgewood Street Northeast in Ward 5. If approved, the school plans to operate this facility for 3 years, serving 370 students in grades 5 through 8 at capacity. You heard from the school about this request during the December public meeting. The head of school is also here tonight to make comment and answer any additional questions you may have.
Thank you, Melody. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you. Not going to take up too much of your time. Good evening, everyone. Just want to thank you for the opportunity to speak briefly in favor of the charter amendment that would enable us to locate temporarily at 711 Edgewood, and that would name our campuses after Anna Julia Cooper. And make a little plug, we have a great opportunity tomorrow night our school is going to welcome Dr. Anika Prather, who is a classicist. She's affiliated with Howard University. She's going to be doing a talk about about Anna Julia Cooper, her legacy and her impact. And I think that there's no better person after whom a school could be named in Washington, D.C. than Dr. Prather. So that's one thing. And then with regards to the temporary location, our board and leadership took to heart the feedback from the community. Even before we prepared before you last month, we had indicated that we were doing a traffic study. We continue to look at ways to not just minimize the impact of our moving into that space for the short term, but also how we can support our neighbors, primarily our neighboring schools, in improving the situation. So I'm thrilled that we've been able to develop a collaborative relationship with the other schools in the neighborhood, and think we've made some traction so far on that, and look forward to being able to brainstorm some additional interventions that might make the situation even better. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight.
Thank you. Board members, do you have any additional questions beyond the discussion that we had last month?
I don't have anything further.
I don't either. Thank you.
I think I should just quickly ask, are there any meaningful or substantive updates from the last month's discussion that would be helpful to share?
The big thing from the last time is that we completed the traffic study and we got the results of that. I think we shared a draft of a memo that our consultants have developed. They haven't written the final memo, but there are some interesting ideas about how we can do drop off and pickup, about how we can do walking shuttles, how we can also provide bus services, not just for our own students, but we can also help to provide busing for the other schools in the neighborhood, which I think will make a difference and could possibly even improve the situation for the short term.
Thank you. Okay. Board members, I will take a motion. No further questions.
I move to approve the charter amendment request of Washington Latin Public Charter School and approve the DC PCSB board chair to sign the amendment on the board's behalf.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Jim Sandman,
Aye.
Ricardo Ganjam,
Aye.
Rick Cruz's proxy is aye, as is mine. That is approved. Congratulations. Thank you. We're really excited to see what's to come here.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
All right. Would any board member like to remove an item from the calendar for further discussion or state a recusal for the record? Okay. I will take a motion now on the consent agenda.
I move to approve all items on the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Jim Sandman,
Aye.
Ricardo Ganjam.
Aye.
Excuse me, I'm going to actually have to pause this because we have to separate this into two separate votes. We are first voting to approve the consent calendar that's specific to the charter amendment for Center City PCS, their goals amendment, their COVID-19 impact provision. So I'm restating this. I'd like to receive a motion first on that first item on the consent agenda.
I move to approve the Center City Public Charter School goals amendment with regard to COVID-19 impact provision.
Second.
Thank you. And now I'll take the roll call vote on that item. Jim Sandman,
Aye.
Ricardo Ganjam,
Aye.
Rick Cruz's vote is aye as well, as is mine. The ayes have it. And then the second item. Reading into the record with regard to $25,000 contracts.
I move to approve reading into the record with regard to the $25,000 contracts.
Second.
Okay, Jim Salmon,
Aye.
Ricardo Ganjem,
Aye.
Rick Cruz is aye, as is mine. That motion is approved. Okay, any new business? Seeing none, I move to adjourn the January 24th, 2022 board meeting.
Second.
Second.
Jim Salmon,
Aye.
Ricardo Ganjem,
Aye.
Rick Cruz approves, and Leah Cruzy. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Stay healthy.
Thank you.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.